think I'm live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my first ever live stream. This is a little bit terrifying, not gonna lie. But this is to celebrate 8 years on BookTube for me, which is insane. But how are you guys all doing? Say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're from, what you'll be reading, because we will be doing live reading sprints, of course. So let me know what you're going to be reading in the comments. And introduce yourselves, because I'm going to be live for 2 hours, which seems quite long, but I think it's actually going to be like super quick, because the sprints I'm going to be doing for about like 15-20 minutes each sprint. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for joining me to celebrate my 8 years on BookTube. So this is super exciting. So I'll give people a moment to join. Don't forget to introduce yourselves and all of that. Claire from Claire Fenby will be joining me at 5 p.m. and it'll be so nice to kind of like just chat with her and do some reading sprints together. Just waiting for people to join. Oh my gosh, I can see people watching. Hi. Don't forget to let me know in the comments where you're from. You're from Morocco. Oh my God, that's amazing. And you're reading Lolita. I have never read Lolita. It is one of those novels that I've heard so much about, but then I've just not gotten around to ever reading. So that's really cool. I hope you're currently enjoying it. And I hope that you read a lot of pages during these reading sprints. I feel like I should probably tell you guys what I'm going to be reading. So I'm going to be reading, surprise, surprise, Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. So if you have been watching my recent reading vlogs, you will know that I've been reading this since the end of January. That's embarrassing, right? Because it's just such a big book. And if you've watched a few of my videos, you've been a subscriber for a few years, you'll know I've made a video about how I'm terrified of big books, and this is like 800, 900 pages. So I'm taking my time with it. I am really enjoying it, and I'm going to go into a bit more of like how I'm feeling with it a bit later on. But I'm currently on page 487. So I'm hoping to get a nice amount of pages read during these reading sprints. And I can see some people already commenting. Sean, hey, I'm from UK, Surrey. I'm Kindle Book Reads on Instagram. Hey, thank you so much for joining. It's so nice to have you watching this live stream. And let me know what book you're going to be reading as well. And yeah, just been lots of love in the comments, loving that. So Queen of Air and Darkness, guys. Where do I even start? Like, I have been reading a lot of pages this weekend, and I finally feel I'm making a dent into it. So I'm going to be reading this during the sprints, but also because I'm ambitious and just ridiculous, I also want to read a second book, and that is Can't Even, How Millennials Became the Burnout Generation by Anne Helen Peterson. So I might read Queen of Air and Darkness for the first hour of the sprints and then go on to some nonfiction. This is all about burnout, can relate. So having a look at the comments, Claire and Chloe from Middlesbrough, currently reading The Promise by Lucy Diamond and A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. Oh my God, amazing. I've been meaning to read A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Is that the title of the first book? It's on my TBR for February, so I should know this. But that's amazing. Good luck with your reading during these sprints. And then Sean saying, I'm reading a sample of One by One by Ruth Ware and onto The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. Some really good thrillers in there, definitely. I need to get into reading thrillers, really, because I would say that's the one genre that I am just like not very good at reading. One by One, I've heard amazing things about, so very good choices there. A lot of people are saying happy birthday, and like it's not obviously my personal birthday, it's my BookTube birthday. I've been on BookTube for 8 years, which is a bit insane. So there we go. So In terms of reading sprints, in terms of what time we're going to start them, I thought we could start a reading sprint at 15:15 and do it for 15 minutes just to warm ourselves up. So a 15-minute reading sprint from 15:15 until 30:30. And no matter where you are in the world, hopefully, you know, you can join in. So yeah, my 8th BookTube birthday was this past week. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really strange. Have any of you guys watching this now watched me from 8 years ago? Like, have you seen like my first videos? Like, have you been around for that long? Let me know in the comments. But it's a bit strange because I started my BookTube channel when there were basically like no booktubers. So I remember seeing Bookables. I don't know if you remember the Bookables. I think that was her name. She doesn't make videos anymore, but I used to watch her videos, and that really inspired me to basically make my own YouTube videos. And then of course, the amazing Sana from Books and Quills, who's one of my lovely friends. And she was one of the first booktubers I ever watched, and I still watch to this day. She's still making incredible content. So yeah, looking through the comments, oh my gosh, there's so many lovely people watching. Thank you so much for clicking on this. Anna from Germany said, I'm currently reading Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. One of my favorite books, Anna. I adore that book, and I really hope you enjoy it. What a conclusion to that trilogy. I love it. Satem said, always great to get your live videos. Thank you. That's really lovely. Claire saying, I only started watching BookTube and your channel last year. Well, welcome to the BookTube community. I guess, you know, having watched it for a year is a pretty good introduction, but welcome, and thank you for clicking on this video. It's really kind of you. So I thought I would do a little Q&A because that's a nice warm-up activity. So please do leave me any questions in the comments. I would love to just, answer all your questions. Anything from working in publishing, because I work in publishing in the publicity department of a publishing house. So any publishing questions are welcome. Anything about books, BookTube, etc. Hit me with your questions. And I thought to warm us up, I did do a call out on my Instagram, which is @LucyRichardson. It's on this banner here, one I made earlier. But I did ask for questions on my Instagram. I think it was yesterday. So I'm going to answer a few of the questions that I found on there. So Sana from Books and Quills asked, what's your favorite book you discovered because of BookTube? So that's a really good question. And a book I discovered because of BookTube, I want to say like Divergent. I remember back in the day, like everybody was obsessed with Divergent by Veronica Roth. And that was probably the one that I was like, you know what, I need to read this book. And it's definitely one of my favorite dystopian books. I was obsessed with it back in the day, like absolutely obsessed. But I would also say like more recently, I would say favorite book you discovered because of BookTube. Maybe like the Holly Black series, maybe like the Folk of the Air series, like that whole series I discovered because of BookTube. And I knew it kind of, like when it first came out, the first book in that series, I was aware of it, but then it was only when people started posting their rave reviews about it, I was like, you know what, maybe I should read this. And I did. I read it last year and I loved it. My friend Rachel sent me a question on Instagram saying, how many avocado related accidents have you fallen victim to? So I'm a very, very clumsy person. I'm partial to an avocado. Let's just say I have injured myself cutting open avocados like so many times. I've got a scar on this thumb from like cutting open an avocado. So how much more of a millennial can you get, you know? But that's really, really funny. So yeah, do let me know if you have any questions just in the chat, and I will answer them as we do this live stream. So we are coming up to 15:15. So we're going to do our first reading sprint. I am so excited. So get your book ready. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to do a little countdown. So you will see me on the side whilst I read, but also you will have a helpful countdown so you know how much is left when you're doing your reading sprints. So get your book ready. Let me know, in the comments what you're going to be reading. I would love to know. I'm obviously going to be reading Queen of Air and Darkness, and not going to lie, if I look a bit stressed during these reading sprints, you know why. Because any of you guys who have read this series, this is I was about to say the Infernal Devices. It's not the Infernal Devices. It is the Dark Artificer series. And this is one of the Shadowhunter series by Cassandra Clare. This is the third and final book in this series. There's a lot going on, guys. Let's just say this is one of the most emotional reads I have read in so long. And yeah, all sorts of emotional. It's a ride. It is a wild ride. So let me know what you're going to be reading for our first reading sprint. I'm so excited. Someone's just said, hi, I'm a fan of yours from Bangladesh. Welcome. And your channel has got me into reading more books. That is incredible to hear. That's really lovely to hear. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm really pleased that, I've inspired you to read more books. It's always a good thing. Okay, so everyone get ready for your reading sprint. The first one, get yourself a drink. I have a water and a cup of tea because just got to have all the nourishment, So, okay, I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. And how do I do this? This is where I show you guys that I'm really not competent at anything techie. Okay, here we go. Okay, so 2 minutes until we start sprinting. So get your books ready, get your cups of tea or any kind of refreshments. It's only going to be for 15 minutes, but it's a nice kind of introductory reading sprint. So here we go, almost ready. Okay, yeah, so I'm on page 487. So I don't really know how much I can get read in 15 minutes, but we're going to give it a go. I would quite like to hit, I don't know, maybe like 495. That's not very ambitious, but I'm going to start off slow. So let me know what page you're starting on, what book you're starting on, and let me know at the end of the 15 minutes how many pages you've managed to get read. Okay, who's ready? We've got less than a minute, I think. That's if my clock is correct. Okay. And ready to be sprinting. I'm going to start it. This is like the longest minute of my life. I guess. Oh, now. Okay, we're going. So hi everyone, welcome back. Mate, oh my God, I was just in the middle of such a good scene. I was like, can I just have 5 extra minutes? But we will be doing another reading sprint, I think at 35 minutes past. So in 5 minutes, we will do another sprint, and this will be a longer sprint. It will be 20 minutes. So yeah, be sure to get your books ready for then. But for now, let me know, yeah, like how many pages did you manage to read in that 15 minutes? I think I got up to, so I was on like 493 or something, and I'm now on page 505. So I'm definitely like getting the pages read. I'm feeling quite good about my progress. Tell me how your progress has been. Did you manage to read a lot of pages? Did you not? Are you enjoying your current read? Let me know in the comments, in the chat. So Layla said, hello from Malaysia, welcome. I've just finished another chapter from Mr. Impossible by Loretta Chase, loving it so far. I've never read any Loretta Chase, but I've heard of her. I don't know why. Is she a romance author? I have a feeling Loretta Chase is a romance author. Carolyn Nixon said, hi from Texas. Congratulations on 8 years. I recently found your channel and I'm enjoying it. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased you found my channel. So hello. So thank you so much to everyone who's recently joined. Welcome. We will be sprinting until 6 p.m. So we're in here for the long haul. So our next sprint will, of course, be a 20-minute sprint starting at 35 minutes past. So, you know, if you need to get a drink or whatever, make sure you grab a drink. I can't wait to go back to Queen of Air and Darkness, not going to lie. I think I am going to stick with this. And I don't know, maybe I will touch my second book. I don't know. It'll depend how I'm feeling, because I'm definitely, as a lot of you guys know, if you've been watching my latest videos, I'm definitely a mood reader at the minute. And I do feel like I'm flitting between books left, right, and center. So we'll see how I feel. So how are people doing? Hello from Las Vegas. Wow, welcome. Just joined right now, ready for the next sprint. Excellent. Oh, here's my personal friend, Rebecca Dean. Hi from Sussex. I'm reading the second Bridgerton book and loving it. Well, Dino, Rebecca, enjoy. What else do we have? Claire saying reading 5% of The Promise. Excellent. 5% is really great. So who's ready for another sprint at 35 minutes past? And yeah, it's also exciting. It's great to hear your guys' progress and what you're reading. Reading The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. Oh, it's a thriller book. Maybe I'll check that one out. Let me know if you do have any thriller recommendations, because I don't know, like the thing with thrillers is I don't know, like I find it really hard to get into them, even though they're quite easy to read. There's something about thrillers that I'm just not, I don't know, it's a genre that I've just never really read. But yeah, it's fantasy at the minute that is my ultimate genre. So I feel like I do need to kind of diversify what I'm reading. So thrillers would be perfect. So I'm just about to reset the countdown. We're going to do 20 minutes. How do I do this? Oh God, it's all going wrong, guys. So we're doing 20 minutes on the timer. We're starting in 1 minute, so get your books ready. Let me know what you're reading as well. If you're new and you've just joined the sprint, welcome. We're going to be starting in 1 minute, so get your books ready and let me know what you're going to be reading. Karen says she's going to be reading Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Excellent choice, because it's one of my favorite all-time series. So really hope you enjoy Crown of Midnight. It is awesome. Who is excited, by the way, for A Court of Silver Flames coming out next week? Can you believe it? I feel like I've been waiting for this book forever. I'm very, very excited about that one. So, right, let's get the countdown up, because we're going to be sprinting in less than a minute. So when that hits 35 minutes past, it's going to be a longer sprint. It's going to be 20 minutes. And yeah, I hope you'll be joining along with me. And let's go. Add to stream. So going to be going now. Okay, so that's the end of that reading sprint. How did everyone do? Let me know how many pages you managed to read. I'm currently on page 529 of Queen of Air and Darkness. This book, I'm enjoying it so much, but I'm also terrified because we're getting towards the end of a series, which is always a little bit terrifying because you never know how it's going to end and if the ending is going to be satisfying or not. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm actually shocked by how much I've managed to read today. I think today I've managed to read more than I have for about a month. So it's been really nice reading with you guys. And we've got 5 minutes until Claire Fenby joins us. So yeah, make sure you have, like, if you have any questions for us both, please do leave them in the chat. Yeah, we'll kind of just be chatting about what we're reading and everything, but we'd love some kind of input from you guys. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you want to hear from us. And also let me know how many pages you managed to read in that reading sprint. Obviously, it was 20 minutes, so quite a good amount of time to get some reading done. Let me know in the chat how many pages you managed to read. I don't actually know how many pages I managed to read there. I think it was about like 20 something, which isn't loads, but we're at kind of a complex part of the plot. So I wanted to make sure that I was like paying attention. Do you guys ever get that? Like there's opportunities where you could speed read, but I was like, you know what? I need to pay attention, you know, during these scenes. So Chloe said she read 6% of A Heart So Fierce and Broken. That's amazing. Well done. I really need to read that series. I've already said this, but I do. I've heard incredible things about, I don't even know what the series is called. I guess A Curse So Dark and Lonely? Is that the title of the book? Sorry if I'm wrong. But the Bridget Kemmerer series sounds amazing. So yeah, let me know how many pages you managed to read during that sprint. And then Claire is going to be joining us in 3 minutes, which I'm really excited to see her and chat to her all about what she's been reading. We have very different reading tastes. Like I'm definitely more of a like YA fantasy reader, and Claire is she reads a lot of classics and kind of like literary fiction. So I can't wait to get her recommendations on what she's been reading. So let me know in the chat as well if you have any questions for her or questions for me. So yeah, this is really lovely. Welcome to any of you guys who joined during that last sprint. Welcome. We'll be doing quite a few more reading sprints in the next hour. So we only have an hour left of this live, but we'll be doing a few more reading sprints. So if you missed that one or you came in quite late, don't worry about it. We'll be doing a lot more reading. Don't you worry. So Claire Salmon said another 5% off The Promise of Lucy Diamond, The Promise by Lucy Diamond, 10% altogether. Also started dinner. Excellent. That sounds like a very productive past hour that you've had for sure. So yeah, I must say, like, I haven't read a Cassandra Clare book in ages. Like I'm basically trying to finish off the Dark Artificer series so I can move on to her next series, which I believe is called The Last Hours. And I haven't read a Cassandra Clare book in so long. And it's just really nice to be like back in a world that you already know. I guess because all of her series are so interconnected, a lot of the characters from her other series like turn up, which is kind of nice because you know the characters, and I just like get scared of starting a new series when like you don't know any of the characters, you don't know the world, you don't know the setup, but it's so nice to be back in like a Shadowhunters series. So yeah. And in terms of like how my February reading is going, as I said, I think I said earlier on in the live stream that my reading has not been great this year. I think it basically started towards the end of last year, to be honest. I just started, like, my reading was just becoming really slow. I don't know if it's been the same for you guys. I just kind of felt the whole pandemic situation, like it's kind of really hitting me now that this is, how, God knows how long it'll go on for. And I think that kind of shook up my reading a bit. And I just retreated into the Netflix hole. Not gonna lie, it was quite painful. So my reading has just been quite slow. And in terms of my February TBR, I have not finished a book in February yet, and we are already a week in. And I also set myself quite an ambitious February TBR. You'll be able to see that if you watch. I actually posted my February TBR last week on my channel. So if you've not already seen that video, just click on my channel and it'll be one of my most recent videos on there. But basically, I set myself quite an ambitious TBR, and I've not read one book from that video yet. So there you go. Someone's just said, hello from New Hampshire, USA. Welcome. That's so exciting. It's so nice seeing like loads of people from all around the world on here, because it makes me feel like there's more outside my little London flat. You know, I think that's the side effect of the whole pandemic situation, where it's like, you know, we can't really go very far at all. We can't travel. So it's just nice hearing from you guys all around the world. I hope you're keeping well. To those of you who have just joined, if you're new, let me know what you're going to be reading in this next hour of reading sprints. I can just see that Claire's joined, so let me add her to the stream.
Hello.
How are you? Oh, I can't.
Wait, so I thought this might happen, so I've got my work headphones just here.
Oh, excellent. You're so good. I love it.
This will be like we're having a like work call.
I know, exactly. If you guys don't know, Claire and I actually work for the same publishing company, so it could happen. We work for different parts of the same publishing company, but
we can now just pretend. Is that better?
That's so much better. Is it better for everyone else? I think, yeah. I think I can't hear myself, which is good. Your backdrop looks amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. What my thing?
Your shelves are gorgeous.
You know, you actually made me panic then, because the last time I did this, I put a funny green screen behind me.
Oh, did you?
So when I was trying to come in, I was trying to figure out how to change the green screen. So when you said that, I was like, Lucy can just see my shelves. It's not like my fake background.
No.
Happy birthday. Happy BookTube birthday.
BookTube birthday. Thank you. I know, it's really, really weird. I was just saying to everyone before that 8 years is it feels like such a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah.
It is a long time.
Yeah, there were a few years in between that when I didn't really post that many videos. I posted like a video a month. So I feel like really like those don't count. So maybe it's a bit less, but oh well. How long have you been on BookTube for?
I think it'll be 9 this year on this channel.
Oh my god.
But I had a channel before that, so I guess 10 potentially.
Oh, wow.
But I think really very similar to you. I don't think I really got started. I was kind of making stuff, so I think maybe 9 years in October.
Wow.
But I've taken a break at the moment. I haven't uploaded in a couple of weeks. I'm just on holiday.
Really? I think that's kind of nice though, because like, I don't know, I often find that when I'm really trying to meet a schedule, like I have to be really careful that like what I'm making doesn't just massively decline and get a bit rubbish. So sometimes it's good to have breaks, but yeah. Oh my gosh, people are being so lovely in the comments saying it's really nice to see both of you. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, love it. So what are you reading at the minute, Claire?
So I've got a conundrum because I'm in between books, and excellent. I've decided, inspired by it being your BookTube birthday, I picked 2 books that you can help me decide from. How exciting. I'm bringing a game to the live.
I love it.
Both of these books I found out about, discovered through BookTube. So I thought we'll link it. We'll make a link.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have.
Oh my gosh.
Ninth House or Daisy Jones and Six. Now, I love Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I'm leaning towards this, but I'm also, because it's really dark at the moment, and I love a bit of dark academia, and I've never read anything by Lee, and I've heard loads of bad things, like loads quite controversial, and I love a dark, controversial book. So what do we think?
Yeah, if you're in the chat, let us know what you think. I only read Ninth House out of those 2 books.
What did you think?
I really liked Ninth House, but it wasn't what I was expecting, because I love Leigh Bardugo. Like, she's one of my favorite authors, and it was very different for her. It's very dark. It's extreme, but then like dark academia is quite, there's going to be morally grey things that happen. But yeah, I don't know. It depends what mood you're in. Like, if you're up for reading a very dark book, going with Ninth House. I don't know. I've heard amazing things about Daisy Jones.
Have you read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo?
No.
So I actually genuinely think that book is a masterpiece. It's one of I really love it. And I think you would adore it.
Yeah.
But I guess it's very hyped up. So it's one of those books that you're like, maybe I'll leave for a little bit, because
I've been just seeing like everybody raving over what's the author called? Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yeah. Everyone I know like is obsessed with her. So I feel like I need to get on that. So maybe I will read Seven Husbands. That also confuses me, because it's a very similar book with a similar title.
Yes. Stuart Turton. Is that
that's
the Deaths. There's Husbands and Deaths.
Right, okay. Well, I'm going to go with the Husbands book. I'm going to try that one soon and see how.
I mean, technically, they have elements of both. No spoilers, obviously. But the reason, because Daisy is in a very similar narrative style. So it's kind of, you have in Seven Husbands, it's like it's like a biography style, and it's kind of very meta. And I really love that framing device, mainly just because when I'm alone, I like to pretend I'm on the Graham Norton show. Do you ever do this? When no one's here, and I just think, oh, Graham, it's so funny you asked, because I prepared this anecdote. And I love that kind of Hollywood, like almost kind of the fantasy element of it. Like, you're kind of creating this fantasy narrative. I always, as a kid, would like write out, stories of like Marilyn Monroe's sister who couldn't be a star, So that's why I love Seven Husbands, but I think this is a very similar style. But also this has got black sprayed edges, so equally.
It's so gorgeous of that edition. Oh my god, I love it.
This is also sorry.
With Ninth House, it's tricky because like it's going to be part of a series.
Oh, I don't like.
Yeah, but the author hasn't even started writing the second book, or maybe she's just started writing the second book. So I don't know. If you want a standalone, I guess read Daisy Jones.
I feel like, I've actually got my receipt in here. Look, I got it in.
Where'd you buy it from?
Got London Piccadilly, and there's a story behind this. Sorry, I'm taking over.
Take it away.
I came and just taken over this whole thing.
No, not at all.
The reason I actually bought this was because there was a very nice bookseller who I thought was very pretty, and she came up to me, and I thought, gosh, we could either be lovers or friends. I don't know how it's going to go.
Okay.
I'm fully in a relationship, so I shouldn't be saying this, but I thought, this is intriguing. I'll keep speaking. And we were just talking about dark academia, and I thought, I'm loving how this is going. And she gave it to me and said, you should really read this. And then I thought, I don't want to say no. And how when they're very books, I mean, as the next books that you kind of you have to be very, very persuasive. And I just carried on talking to her, and she just walked me over to the till.
Gosh.
But I think because I was really enjoying it, but then I didn't want to be like, actually, because I what I'm like, I really don't know anything. I know it's not a YA novel, but I'm really not knowledgeable about fantasy or YA, and I don't know what's good or what to read really. So I kind of wasn't sure, but I then kept the receipt because I thought I'll go back and return it, but then lockdown happened, and so I never got to return it because I thought, I don't know, but then I was like, maybe it was, a love story that couldn't be me and this book, or me and the bookseller. I'm not yet sure.
This is a very, very good shout. I mean, I think this is the thing. I think I like that story because you often don't pick the books that you aren't really your typical books. Like I was saying before about thrillers, how I don't know, I'm not very enthusiastic about reading a thriller. And I kind of want to change that because like everyone really seems to be, you know, hyping a lot of thrillers at the minute. But I would recommend that Ninth House. I think it's like, it is very different, but if you like Dark Academia, it's definitely down that
exactly. Way. And I do, I've been I mean, I read Addie LaRue, which was a very different choice for me. But not really. And I just think I've often been really surprised by books. And also I kind of want to, people have been really talking about, I mean, they've been talking about it, it's out in paper now. The discussion was a while ago. Yeah. But I still think that maybe, you know, so anyway, I have a choice. So I would love anybody more opinions on.
Well, someone's saying Daisy Jones is fab, particularly in audio.
I do have credits, you know.
Really?
I do. I have 4.
I love that. And then someone has a question for you, Claire. I know she loves the Twilight series as I do.
Yes,
I also love the Twilight series. Have you read Midnight Sun already? Just curious.
So, you know, I've read half of it. And actually have you read it, Lucy? Have you?
Funny story, Claire. I'm actually halfway through it as well, and I don't know whether to DNF it or not. I'm a bit like
interesting.
Sure.
So yeah. I was so excited because for me it's like the ultimate nostalgia, and it's something that I was, you know, I mean, it's massively problematic and lots of things we could talk about it and why it's not great. But I think for me I just feel so full of joy whenever I watch. I love the films.
Yeah,
you know,
the films. Yeah,
I love the first film. Genuinely, I will not stand for it. I think it is a great film.
It genuinely brings back all the feels, though. It's so good.
Yeah, for me, they were like my massive comfort things. So I used to take them with me to university when anything was stressful, and I'd always kind of go back to them. And I think actually when Midnight Sun came out, for me, it was like the perfect time. Do you not think?
Yeah.
Lockdown, it was kind of perfect. And so I was really into it, and then reread the other books. But then one thing people should know about me, I'm very obsessive. So I kind of have very strong obsessions. So it could be, you know, one week like the Romanovs, and I'm learning about, I don't know, Revolutionary Russia, and I'll be reading everything, and it's so extreme. And then that will just go, and then it's just hard to get back to that place again. So I kind of feel like I may leave it, and then maybe next year, which it definitely happens every couple of years, I have a massive Twilight resurgence.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to it. I mean, have you read it? Like, who's the Events Between the Lines? Apologies, I don't know your full name, but have you read it? Should we continue reading it, or should Lucy put it down?
We're obviously both at a similar point, and we've just kind of given up on it.
Yes. It's not a good sign.
It's tricky for me because, like, obviously I know what happens, and like for some reason I find that equal parts comforting, but also I'm like, when I put the book down, I can't be bothered to go back and read it because I'm like, well, I know what the plot is. But then when you're in it, it's kind of this weird comfort where you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen. Like, I know what it's going to be, and it's a weird book to read. What was your favorite Twilight book? Oh God, now you're asking a question. I think my favorite Twilight book was. So the first half of Breaking Dawn is one of my favorites, and also
I agree. Oh, interesting.
But funnily enough, one of my favorite Twilight films is New Moon.
Same.
It's just so beautiful. It's like,
I agree. The colors. I think the coloring in that film is phenomenal. My favorite, I think, book is the first one.
Yeah.
But actually, I really did love New Moon, the film, and I remember then reading New Moon, and I think at the time, because everyone really didn't like New Moon, was when the Twilight hate really came, and I feel like that kind of had the surgence, and then everyone hated Bella and hated how her character, and I then actually went to Bella and then said, actually, no, I think you're all wrong, and I think this is misogyny in a different form, and so I think I kind of really loved it because of that. Yeah. But I think maybe because I really loved the first book, maybe that's why I'm actually really intrigued by Midnight Sun. I just think it wasn't the right time for me to read it. Yeah.
It's funny because like me 10 years ago would be like have read it about 20 times already by now.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting kind of like getting a little flashback into teenage Lucy, who was a crazy twihard. It was ridiculous.
Were you Team Edward or Jacob?
Oh, Team Edward all the way. I had like posters, I had all the merch. It was ridiculous.
I remember getting, because I think maybe my obsession continued a bit later on than maybe it wasn't cool when I was really into it, because I got into it quite late. And so I remember having, I don't know how I got this, or like it was also just a piece of merch, but it was their wedding invite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a book that came out and it had like a replica of the wedding invite for the film. And I was obsessed with it, and I had it on my wall. I had it like framed as if I was like invited to their wedding. And
I love it.
You know, so whenever I go back there, I just kind of feel like it's just, it's very like nostalgic.
Well, I'm glad that I've met someone who also kind of shares that, because it's funny, because I think I owe Twilight a lot in terms of like, if I want to be really analytical about it, I think the obsession turned me to want to study English at uni, which obviously led me into getting into publishing. So you could say my entire career is based on Twilight. So
yeah, you not think, especially with Sana as well, because I remember watching her videos and with the kind of, you know, all of them kind of making Twilight content, and I think that's my first introduction to YouTube in general. So in fact, in a way, and because I also kind of got my job through making YouTube videos, so technically it's also due to everything's due to Twilight.
I know, that's insane. Well, we've got a lot to thank Twilight for. Shall we do a reading sprint?
Yes. Which book?
I think, well, the chat is saying, Karen said, I love both books, but you should start with Ninth House, I think they mean. Daisy is better in audio. And then Anna also said, I adored Ninth House. I think you should read Ninth House, like mix it up.
Yeah. Oh, there's an author's note.
Oh, I love an author's note. Okay, so how long should we sprint for? How about like 15 minutes to warm us up?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'm going to say is I have ADHD, so how long I read, I may just get distracted and just want to talk to you. So I'll try really hard at concentrating on one thing.
Well, we'll make it kind of like a snappy one, and then we can like warm ourselves up. Okay, so if
you see me looking at you a lot, it means I've stopped reading.
That's all right. I'll probably be doing the same, just checking that nothing's going wrong on this live.
Cool.
So it fills me with like dread. It's all fun. So if we start at 20 past, and we will read until 35 past. Is that 20? Is that 15 minutes? Yeah. Guys, this is me revealing live how bad I am at maths. So this is really fun.
I'm that bad. I didn't even try to help. My partner made me a hot chocolate just for this.
Oh my God, what a dream.
I know, with cream and marshmallows. What have you got, Lucy?
Well, I did have a cup of tea, but it's all gone now.
Do you want to go make yourself a cup of tea?
I actually might. I might
go and take 5.
A Diet Coke or something. I know it's really bad, but
I've just turned it into a chubby bunny challenge. I'm like, that's so bad.
Oh my God, that's a YouTube throwback. Talking about all the throwbacks. Cool. All right, so
we'll get cinema next.
The old countdown timer on. How do I do this? Stop. Timer, 15 minutes. Okay, so we're starting at 20 past, everyone. Get your books ready and let us know in the chat what you're going to be reading as well, because maybe there'll be some crossovers. Maybe there'll be some people reading Cassandra Clare. Who knows? Okay. How do I share? Add to stream. Do I do this, maybe? Yeah. Okay. Hope everyone's ready. Got your books. Got a snack. Got your hot chocolate like Claire.
I'm showing off.
Okay. Luckily, how nice is this? I'm starting on a fresh chapter.
Oh.
It just does stuff to me. I love it.
Oh, I have a map.
Here we go. 20 past to 35 minutes past. Starting now. on Reading Sprint down. So I'm just like so invested in this story. It's ridiculous.
What are you reading again?
Queen of Air and Darkness. It's the final book in the Dark Artificer series by Cassandra Clare. It's a bit heartbreaking, not gonna lie. It's like, do you know when you reach a conclusion to a series and you just all the emotions? How was Ninth House?
So, I feel like it is two different books.
Okay, go on.
So the prologue is so different to then the first bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is like a murder mystery. And then I'm like, oh, it's more fantastical than I thought. But I really like her writing, actually.
Yeah.
A lot. But I'm kind of like I kept reading the same bit because I was like, hang on, what's going on? Who are all these different things?
Yeah.
But to be fair, sometimes I feel like I can get bogged down with that. But if I just keep reading, it will all fit into place. But I've actually gotten through it. Well, I say for me, I'm quite a slow reader, but I've actually made like I've read a couple of pages.
That's good. Well done. I think the Ninth House. Yeah, I remember I had to reread the first few chapters quite a few times because I found that it's like it is quite confusing at the start, and I feel like I maybe didn't even really understand fully what was going on until about like a third of the way through the book or something.
Yes.
But it is really good. I think the writing's awesome as well, like you said. So,
I mean, there was a word. So the moment she's doing prognostications, right?
Yeah. Is this
I don't know what that means.
Chapter with the kind of like weird operating theatre.
Yes, and I love that, and that the imagery of it. In fact, there's a really good bit. In fact, no, don't let me take this off on a different turn again.
No, go for it. Go for it.
So there's see if I can find this bit where she says, "Oh, like she's having to scatter the bone dust."
Oh yeah.
Because that's the only way to kind of keep I can't find it now, but like keep the
like the ghost, like what do they call them?
Yeah, the graves. So she promised herself she'd return later to sprinkle the theatre with bone dust. Reminders of death were the best way to keep the graves at bay. It is why cemeteries were some of the least haunted places in the world. And then it's just like, you know how like they have what I love is when writers create their own kind of lore.
Yeah.
And you're like, that is a really kind of interesting way of like why they're so safe is because, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just quite. And I love how, it is kind of, I'm quite intrigued.
Good. I think it's like, considering it's about a main character who can see ghosts, it's quite a unique take on that. Like I've read a few books about like characters who can see ghosts, and they're all kind of similar, but this kind of turns it on its head a little bit. It's so good. Like the plot twists in Ninth House are just 10 out of 10. I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah.
I love a campus novel.
Yeah.
And I like kind of the claustrophobia, and I like really quite descriptive and quite metaphoric, you know, and I kind of feel like this is what this is going to be in lots of ways, you know.
Definitely. Well, I think you're really going to like it. Okay. It's actually like kind of motivated me to try and read more like dark academia. I still haven't read The Secret History. Have you read that?
So, yes, but I read it when I was far too young.
Really?
And I can't remember it, and I think I kind of picked it up. I know that it was always really popular, but it wasn't popular like it is now when I first read it.
Yeah.
And so I really don't have much recollection apart from it having the best opening of any novel ever.
Oh my
Have you read the first?
That's amazing.
Have you read the first line of Secret History?
No.
Oh, let me find it for you.
You should. No, it's I feel like it's almost because like dark academia has like become this like aesthetic that you know, like the internet's just obsessed with. I feel like it's like The Secret History is only kind of really, of course it was like a hugely popular novel when it was released, but I feel like it's gotten a new kind of surge of attention now.
What aesthetic do you think you are? Do you think you're what are you kind of into? Because I go into like wormholes of kind of reading up all of the different aesthetics on like the Wikipedia.
Yeah, I only know like
who I am.
the only aesthetics I really know are like dark academia, light academia, cottagecore.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if I'm more cottagecore. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not like countryside-y enough. Maybe light academia, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like I think I'm kind of light academia, but really wants to be dark. Because I was always like, as like a teenager, I really wanted to be a goth or someone like that. I thought that, well, not a goth, but I wanted to be kind of, I wanted to wear loads of black clothes and be kind of mysterious. But then I came out like a little like sunbeam all the time, and I just could never convey the darkness.
Yeah.
This is the first. This is the first line.
First line.
Okay, I'll prepare myself. The snow in the mountains was melting, and Bunny had been dead for several weeks before we came to understand the gravity of our situation. He'd been dead for 10 days before they found him. It was one of the biggest manhunts in Vermont history. State troopers, the FBI, even an army helicopter. The college closed. The dye factory in Hamptons shut down. People coming from New Hampshire, upstate New York, and as far away as Boston. But it kind of continues. But it's the first line of Bunny had been dead for several weeks before we came to understand the gravity of our situation. And this idea of him being dead in the snow. Is it snowing where you are now? Do you have snow?
It's not like lying. It's really annoying because like it's just like snowing but not sticking, which is the worst kind of snow. Like you want the proper snow.
Yes.
But yeah. Oh, you're right. That line is like very, very strong.
Mainly because because it kind of you can when you can visualize it and you can almost feel the cold in your bones. When it's like you can but it is, so I kind of really remember that, but I feel like I'm kind of just acting like I haven't read it now, and then I'll read it properly, because if I don't know what happens in it, which means I probably didn't read it properly.
We should do a read along.
Yes.
A buddy read.
Yeah. How are you? Do you enjoy? See, I'm really bad at read alongs.
I've not really done many. Like, I feel like a bit of a fake booktuber, but I've not really done many.
8 years, yeah, definitely fake.
That's fake. No, I've not really done many read-alongs where everyone's reading the same book or buddy reads. I think I'm probably similar in that I just can't read something if I'm forced to, or if I know that I have to read something. It kind of like puts me off in some weird subconscious way. I struggle with that.
You're a rebel.
I know. It was like that in, like university as well. I feel like you'd have your set like texts on your courses, and I'd just be like, I don't want to do any of these. I want to read Twilight. But yeah, so there you go. What you've got to tell everyone what books are on your TBR. Like, what are you wanting to do next?
Well, you know what? I actually don't think so. Last year I had a goal of reading more Dickens, because I only read Great Expectations, and then some of the older stuff like Sketches from Boz is a really old one. But I haven't read any of his, like, apart from Great Expectations, I haven't read his like the great classics of Dickens. So that was a goal last year, and then I just never did it because it wasn't the time. I feel like 2020 wasn't my time to read. There were other things.
Yeah.
So I really want to read. I think Bleak House. But actually this year I've just read the first Bridgerton book.
Excellent.
Yes, and I'm going to read the second one. It? So I have very mixed feelings, because actually I love a Regency romance.
Okay.
And I kind of in fact, because I know I've been watching I've got your video actually on historical romances saved, so I can go to find out what I should read next.
Good. All the recommendations.
But because I think because I work with really commercial fiction, I kind of sometimes realise that I need to also read more to understand the market, just in a boring work way. I need to kind of read it. And actually I did really enjoy it. I might make a video on it, but I enjoyed it, I think, for the wrong reason. So the reason I enjoyed it was because at university I studied 18th century periodicals and newspapers, and that was my big thing. And basically, Lady Whistledown is very familiar to Lady Crackenthorpe, who made the female Tatler in the 18th century and was kind of wasn't a scandal sheet, but it was very similar. And so I loved this series. But then the book is very different to how narratively they've done the series. And follows the great tradition of following each character like the Poldark books does. So I'm kind of intrigued as to reading more. But, it is massively problematic, and then that kind of upsets it. So it's almost like I did really enjoy it, but I almost don't want to say I enjoyed it because there is, especially some bits in it are just not good. Then you're kind of trying to navigate how can you enjoy it when, But I think there is just a part of you that does I love a kind of a guilty pleasure,
Totally. And I think it's really hard because I'm a big Regency romance, Victorian romance fan, and I've read quite a lot of like historical romance authors who are really kind of like, the big ones in the genre. Yeah. But I've never read Julia Quinn. So I feel like if I was coming to this fresh, I probably would really, really love the whole series. But I think like I keep comparing it to one of my favorite historical romance writers is Lisa Kleypas.
Yes, classic.
Her books are so good, and I feel like there's less of the problematicness. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like I feel like with The Duke and I did struggle with some of the romance scenes towards the end of that book because the Duke kind of says some things that I was like, oh yeah, not a fan of. I feel like the more you do read that series, there is less of that. Like there's less of the kind of super alpha male type situation. So yes, I kind of wish that The Duke and I wasn't the first book in the series because I wonder if that's kind of put some people off reading the rest of it.
Especially because the second one apparently I've been told is really good.
Yeah, I think it's called the Viscount Who Loved Me, and I love that book so much. It's so good.
See, that's the thing. I kind of feel like I think there are other like kind of the Georgette Hayers, like do you know what I mean? So I kind of feel like sometimes the criticism is completely fair, but I love a bit of commercial fiction, and I love so I kind of automatically want to defend it for the fact that it's done its job in a weird, not necessarily that book, but I think sometimes people tar everything with the same brush and go everything must be awful, and then kind of beat up a lot of like Regency romance and kind of dismiss it. So I want to read more. I mean, I know kind of like Tessa Dare. I kind of I always grew up kind of reading everything like Philippa Gregory, and not that that's the same kind of that kind of historical romance. So I kind of in 2021 TBR wise, I just want to pick up. Have you got a reading goal? Because I haven't got one this year.
I'm just trying to read a book a week, which already I'm 2 books behind on. So maybe I shouldn't start reading.
I could never do that. I always think people like that are just like superhuman. I'm honestly I read a book a month if that. I'm a terribly slow reader. So I'm like 12 books a year. Sounds great.
It's funny though, because I feel like there is that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like expectation that booktubers are super quick readers and read loads of books, but actually it's kind of, like, I don't know, it's that kind of weird situation where you're talking about books all the time. You've got a community where you're known for being a reader, and then it's kind of like the expectation of having to read loads of books. Like that is something that I always struggle with when I see other booktubers read like 20 books in a month and their wrap-ups are 15 books long. And I'm like, oh my God, how can anyone read that many books? It's
I think because, I think especially because we work in publishing, I don't know if you sometimes feel this, is that sometimes it's like we work with books, even it might not be what we're reading, but we're always thinking about books, and then you kind of want to create content, whether that's like on Instagram or on YouTube about books, and then you have to read, and then so it almost becomes that all your hobbies revolve around this one thing. So I think sometimes it's quite good not to have a bit of space. But I did a question like ages ago about I think probably actually like last year about how many books people thought I read, and they were all like 150 books a year, 80 books a year, and it made me realize that like the way I portray myself is very different, because I guess they kind of put together like, oh, really likes books and seems kind of intelligent, must read a lot, whereas in reality I really will read about maybe 12 books a year. Like if I really do not read a lot, but then I will kind of be reading a lot around them, and I think I'll be doing so much bookish stuff around them, then even if I read maybe 25, which is kind of normal for me, maybe like 20 books a year, but I remember when I said that, people were like, oh, you're not that much of a reader. And I was like, I think look at me. I'm a very bookish person, regardless. If I read one book a year, I would still be massively bookish. But I do think there's an expectation to be, to read every new release, to know everything about everything. But we're just humans.
Well, exactly. It's interesting to know, like, and everyone who's watching this in the comments, I don't know, like, do you have an opinion on this? Do you like seeing booktubers who just read loads of books per month? Does that like inspire you, or are you kind of more, you're just like, well, everyone reads what they want to read and what they can read? It's just interesting because, like, I think you're totally right. It's the fact that our whole lives are literally about books. Like, all of my hobbies, even like when I'm, in my downtime when I just can't really be bothered to read or don't really want to pick up a book, I'll be watching a booktube video, and it's like, I don't know, like sometimes you do need a bit of distance from it. I'm gonna pick out some comments that people have been putting in. Let's have a look. So Teresa from Austria, currently reading The Heart's Invisible Furies. I've never heard of that book.
Yeah, John, isn't it John Boyne? I really want to read that. I have that on my Kindle.
Someone else said The Heart's Invisible Furies. Oh. Amazing. I need to check this book out. That's really interesting.
You know what? I bought that recently because it was on a Kindle deal, because I love a Kindle deal.
Love a Kindle deal.
I wonder if something's going on with it, Whether it's a new adaptation that we don't know about.
Maybe. Interesting. And then Carolyn said, I hadn't read Regency romances for years, but picked them up again during the start of COVID. Same. I definitely went into a Regency romance spiral at the start of COVID. There is something like definitely escapist about romance in general.
Definitely. I love it's always the time when I think maybe I wasn't reading them, but I was definitely rewatching like all Jane Austen adaptations.
Oh yeah,
totally. Just watching every period drama, even though I've seen them a million times. I just like watched North and South all the way through, then read it, and then watch it again. It's my favorite. It's the best adaptation ever. And I remember having that moment when I got to the end and like just went, I'm just gonna watch it all over. Episode 1.
I know. I just wish I always kind of get to the end of North and South and just wish there was a sequel. Like, I just want to know what like Margaret and John's life is like after,
that
the end.
Train scene when they're on the train.
I know.
It's just so romantic.
I love it.
I really is it Richard Armitage?
Yeah.
I really love him.
I love it.
I think I love that book. Have you read the book?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just find that like for me it's like the wonderful mix of like socialism.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, it feels slightly revolutionary, but also not that revolutionary, but like it kind of feels has a different kind of, because it's got like a politics behind it, so the whole thing, their love story feels even more like it's
emotionally. There is like the whole kind of like political and like socio-economic background to it, and I'm just like, I don't know, because usually I would be kind of like bogged down by that type of stuff, but I think in North and South it's just like the best.
Also, it makes him 100% more sexy that he kind of comes round to being like, you know, he understands that his ways were wrong, or that society needs to change, and there's nothing sexier than a politically aware person, you know?
Aware man, totally.
Exactly.
Love it. So shall we do our final reading sprint of the live show? Let's do it at 6, and we'll do it for 15 minutes, and then I know we're going 15 minutes beyond what I said this live would be, but we can go from the hour mark until 15:15. Is that all right with you, Claire?
Yeah, I feel like I realized because we haven't seen each other in ages.
Well, this so I was just catch up. I'm loving it. Yeah.
So I was just kind of way too talkative, so I apologise for.
Nah, that's all good. Hopefully, it's just been nice talking about bookish stuff. Like, I feel like I don't have an outlet like this anymore because I can't really meet up with anyone, like all my bookish pals. So
yeah, it's weird.
So yeah, there you go. So yeah, everyone get their books ready. Get yourself a warm beverage if you need one.
No, what are you gonna do? I'm actually gonna read a bit Daisy Jones, and then I'll see.
Between.
Yeah,
that's a really good shout, actually.
I'll see which one I
did try and pick up another book to read during this live, which was Can't Even, a millennial.
Oh, I really want to read that.
So, but I was like, oh yeah, maybe, I won't fancy it because, the end of this is getting quite dramatic, but I think I'm just going to power through.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, everyone, so we will start in 3 minutes. So get your books ready and let us know in the chat, what are you reading for this final reading sprint? This will be the one to get all your pages done.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. I think after this live show, I am going to have a gin and tonic to celebrate Sunday night.
Yeah, and your BOOKTUBE birthday.
Yeah, and I actually think
what is your
what date do you mean?
No, I mean, I was going to say, if you had one thing of advice for someone, what is your bit of wisdom? You have to end it with a bit of wisdom from your 8 years. What wisdom have you got to give there?
I think my wisdom is, this is a really good shout. I think just like do it for the right reason. Like, don't do it for the numbers. Don't do it for, to be part of the I don't know. I think just do it because you are passionate about books, and even if there's like 10 people watching, even if there's thousands of people watching, do it because you love it. I think that's my one piece of advice.
I think that's wise wisdom. Wise wisdom.
That's wise advice. I love it. Yeah, because then it's kind of like no matter what, you'll be happy and satisfied.
Yeah.
I often I need to take this advice myself, because often I do get stressed out by being like, oh my god, but this video hasn't had as many views as normal. And it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like, as long as 10 people like it, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah. That's the reason I took a bit of a break from it, because I was not it wasn't a purposeful break, but then I was just kind of like I've been having a lot of thoughts about how kind of we monetize every hobby. We have to feel like every hobby is like a productive thing. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? This isn't a job. I need to just not think about it like a job. So I can take holidays because it's not a job. I don't have to write in a diary and be like, I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks. So I think
so true. Yeah,
because we're very much into the weekly upload schedule. Like, we have to upload weekly because YouTube will punish us. And then I was like, well, I have a job. I don't have to. This doesn't have to be my job. I can just disappear mysteriously for a couple of weeks and then come back.
Well, exactly. Everyone will be very, very excited for your return. And, obviously, like, a break is always a good thing. Like,
I just couldn't be bothered, Lucy. I just took some time. I just couldn't bother to film.
When you've been going, doing YouTube as long as, we have, sometimes you do just need a few weeks to just, enjoy reading again.
Also, we know we've been here long enough now to know that it will always be there to come back to, and that it doesn't matter. Okay, again, I've been speaking too much. It's 6 o'clock. Let's read.
We needed longer. Okay, so we are going to be doing our last reading sprint for 15 minutes. So get your books ready. I can see some of you guys are getting your books ready. Very, very exciting. Okay, so let's go for 15 minutes until the 1/4 mark. Okay. Okay, that's it.
No.
We've done all the reading. How did you find Lucy Jones?
Oh, I love it.
Really? Okay, so we know which one you're going to be sticking with.
I think so. I might read both. Worked quite well. But no, I was like smiling. You know when you're reading, you're smiling.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, this is gonna be so good. I can just really feel it.
Oh, I need to read that book so bad.
How about you? Are you kind of, huh?
I feel like everyone else has read that book but me.
Exactly. But everyone's now got her new one. I keep seeing on people's Instagrams,
and
I'm like,
Malibu Rising.
So I need to kind of like, you know, I want to be because that comes out in May. So I'm kind of like, if I really love this one, because I really love Seven Husbands, so she could be a new favorite writer, and that's quite exciting.
Yeah, I think I have a proof copy of Malibu Rising from NetGalley on my Kindle. So
I should get on that.
I should probably read Daisy Jones as well because I feel like that will also be amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think this is the end of the live stream. It's crazy. This has been like my first one. Have you done one before, Claire?
No, not on YouTube. And well, no, that means no. So I've done Instagram lives and stuff like that, but never like so it's kind of, yeah, I think when I tuned at the beginning, it was all going very smoothly. So
yeah,
success on your first one.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so fun, and I also feel like it's gone so quickly. Like I feel like there's so much more to talk about, but alas, we'll have to save it for the next one if there is a next one.
Yeah, we'll do my 9th.
Yeah, for sure. But thank you everyone so much for joining. I hope you all got lots of reading done. Let me know how many pages you managed to get read in the chat. And I will see you very, very soon on my channel for another video. And don't forget to subscribe to Claire if you've not already subscribed to her. She's fab. You'll love all of her videos.
She's okay.
No, it's all good. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.